Would you give us some background, particularly on the Cabaret Songs?
The Cabaret Songs actually are a gift. In April, the University of Maryland also celebrated my 85th birthday. The lady who was in charge of it was a 10-day festival. Imagine 3 operas, every kind of work there, orchestral, choral, solo, camera. And she was doing my favorite opera, Miss Havisham Fire, Linda Mann was the name. And she had gone to the trouble of convincing the faculty and using everybody to do this celebration for a composer who's basically unknown in Maryland at the university. But I wanted to give her a present, and I had written 1 or 2 slightly pop style songs, and I thought I'd just finish off the whole cycle. And presented, she premiered it down there.
Well, and you also wrote the words,
yeah,
too.
I did the words, yeah. So,
yeah.
They're not bad. But you don't really strive for wonderful poetry and pop music. You just hope it fits the section. No, I enjoy doing it. I'll never do it again. But I was sort of given a go-ahead by learning that Schubert wrote Cabaret Songs and Britain wrote Cabaret Songs. I thought, well, it's not all that awful.
Right. Tell us a little bit about the 3 sonnets of Petrarch.
The 3 sonnets were written about 3 years ago, and it began with an appreciation for the poetry of Petrarch. My office mate at university for about 17 years was Dr. Loudon, musicologist.
Okay.
And he knew I composed and often spent a lot of time looking for texts and stuff. And he said, have you ever thought about the Laurel poems? And I thought I had a PhD in education, but I didn't know the Laurel poem, where he said, oh, for heaven's sake, that's Petrarch's famous mistress, or would have been mistress. He said, his poetry, there were about 300 sonnets about Laura herself. She was a married woman. We don't know much about it. And when he first saw her, and it was very much like Dante meeting Beatrice in Florence. It was love at first sight. But obviously there wasn't anything he could do except admire her from a distance. Yeah. He lived his whole life adoring this woman. I don't know that he never refers to the fact that she knew it or not. And then when she died, he really wrote a number of grieving sonnets about her. And some writers will say that was a conceit of the era, that everybody in chivalry and everything had this idealized woman, the troubadours wrote songs about that kind of thing, that he really wasn't in love with her. There was no Laura, is what they said.
As a composer, you felt you had to know whether she was real or not?
Yeah,
that was important.
It would make all the difference. If I thought that it was just a creature of his imagination, it would not have interested me. This Manners on Music was commissioned by Miss Manners' husband, who lived in Washington. That was done years ago. I was never satisfied. They were published in a reform, but the piano, I thought sometime I might want to do it for a little ensemble. When I heard about Maryland, they're 15 miles from Washington, the university, and I knew Miss Manners would be coming up for various concerts. I went to put this on, and Linda Mann, I mentioned earlier, said, we're doing the Elizabethan song with that Baroque ensemble. Would you like to use that? And I thought about it for a minute. That might be fun, but a harpsichord? I said harpsichord makes me think of snuff boxes. And Manners makes me think of teacups or something. So I thought maybe a celeste would be more interesting. So I finally settled on a string quintet, celeste, and a percussion.